This is how to never run out of Facebook ad campaigns for your e-com brand. Time and time again, I get brand owners that come to me telling me they're stuck at 50K a month, 100K a month, or low six figures a month in revenue. But then they tell me they're only running 1 to 2 or 3 campaigns because some guru on X or even on YouTube was telling them how they need to have the consolidated structure to be successful with Facebook ads. But what they don't realize is that their consolidated campaign scarcity mindset is what is actually holding them back. So in this video, I'm going to go over my personal menu of meta ads prospecting campaigns and go into detail how you can use each campaign to scale your brand. To my subscribers, thanks again for tuning in again to one of my videos. And if you're new here, my name is Mason Littlejohn and I am the $500 million man. Yes, I have scaled a single brand from 1 million to $500 million a year, 3 years in a row. Not to mention all the other brands I've scaled. And I actually left the $500 million a year brand to start my own agency, We Are The Select, launch my coaching program, Meta Ads at Scale, and start my own e-commerce brand as well. So I'm also in the trenches every day, just like you. This channel is dedicated to helping direct-to-consumer e-commerce brands hit $1 million months. And before we dive into the video, I'm going to give you a quick outline of what we're going to cover in this video. First, I'm going to go over why consolidation isn't everything. And second, I'm going to go over sophisticated consolidation. So how can we execute consolidation in the ad account, but in a sophisticated way? And then last, I'm going to go over my full menu of campaigns. It is a boatload of prospecting campaigns, but you'll never run out of ideas anymore on where you should go in your ad account if you're hitting a revenue ceiling. I have a campaign I can guarantee that you have not launched yet. Now let's dive into the video. So first, let's talk about why consolidation isn't everything. So first, let's do a quick history lesson. Moving back into 2016, 2017 with Facebook ads, segmentation was the way to go. You would segment down as far as you could go because that's where the performance would be, the efficiency would be. But as Facebook ads matured, the algorithm matured and Meta made a lot of changes to their algorithm. Consolidation became the talk of the town. And so moving away from the segmented approach with 1 million ad sets was the way. You would move back. Fewer campaigns, fewer campaigns, fewer campaigns. And in an ideal world, we would have as few of campaigns as possible, right? Because one, that would be easier to manage. But two, it's supposed to obviously be better for the algorithm, give more clear signals to the algorithm. However, consolidation isn't everything. You know what is everything? Hitting your motherfucking goals, hitting your revenue goals, right? Hitting your ROAS goals, right? That trumps consolidation. That trumps whatever the guru told you.
That you only need to run 1 to 2 cost cap campaigns, or your CBO campaign with minimum ad spend on your ad sets.
Whatever they're preaching these days, right? No, I do not care how many campaigns it takes for me to hit $1 million a month. What actually matters? That is what you need to think about. I get too many people that come to me telling me, well,
Someone told me my account has too many campaigns.
well, are you hitting your goals?
Yeah, I'm hitting my goals.
Then why? If it ain't broke, do not fix it, right? But most of the time I get people come to me that are hitting their goals, right? But they're only running 1 to 2 campaigns.
So like, oh, I need to have the consolidated setup.
No, you don't. You don't need to have a consolidated setup. What you need to have is campaigns that have purpose and that drive business outcome. That is what actually matters for your brand, for your business. Every campaign needs to have a purpose. And if there's multiple purposes, then there's going to be multiple campaigns. And that's as simple as it can be. Yes, there is such a thing as having way too many campaigns, because what does that mean typically? Oh, when you have too many campaigns, typically for the average Joe meta advertiser, that means that those campaigns don't have a purpose. But thankfully, you're tuned in with me, the Meta Ads GOAT here, and I'm going to share with you a bunch of Meta Ads campaigns that all have purpose. And this is going to help you hit record after record after record revenue goals. So I kind of already gave you a preview with that last little rant, but we're going to talk about sophisticated consolidation. And that's what I meant about campaigns having a purpose. Yes, we don't want to kill ourselves in the ad account having way too many campaigns to manage, right? Of course, do you think I want to work harder if I don't have to? No. But at the end of the day, revenue trumps your feelings. Revenue trumps consolidation. Revenue and profit is our key indicator of success, right? And so if that requires more campaigns, that is what we're going to do. But we're going to do sophisticated, right? So what I mean by that, every campaign has to have a purpose. If a campaign isn't really necessary to have, then yeah, we're going to delete it. If that will, enhance our consolidation, right? But we will use as many campaigns as it takes to hit our goals. And for some context here, like I mentioned, I came from a brand where I scaled them from 1 million to over $500 million a year in meta ads. I spent over $100 million 1 year on meta ads for this brand. And fun fact, when we were spending $300,000 a day, we had 70 to 80 campaigns campaigns live in our Meta Ads account. Does that sound crazy? Yes. But hitting $500 million a month required that, right? If we kept our thinking to, oh, we just need to have a few campaigns like our Meta reps would try to get us to do, we would have nuked our performers. We probably would have never reached the level. But all these campaigns had a purpose, and that is what allowed us to hit these $500 million months. And you can do the same for yourself. I always say this to brands in my coaching program: the more campaigns you can get working, the more you can scale, right? At the end of the day, the more shit we can make work, the more money we're gonna make, right? And so don't think of campaigns as a bad thing. Think of the more campaigns you can get work, the better. So I want you to reframe your thinking. Yes, consolidate as much as possible, be sophisticated about it. But if there is an opportunity to launch a new campaign that has a distinct purpose and it will drive incremental revenue, you should absolutely do it. And without further ado, we're going to dive into my menu of campaigns. There is quite a bit of campaigns here. I haven't even officially counted how many we have, but there's quite a bit. So I'm just going to go to the first one to start, which is what everyone knows. Campaign number one is an Advantage Plus Evergreen campaign. Advantage Plus is literally just a broad campaign now, and you would put videos in here, static ads in here, carousels in here, right? Everything but dynamic product ads. So that would be campaign number one. This is typically what most people run in their accounts, is just regular Advantage Plus campaigns, right? So the purpose of those typically is for newer brands where you only really need a couple campaigns, right? And you haven't decided to break out your creatives, but your creative types into their own separate campaigns yet. And so typically an Advantage Plus campaign can kind of house all your things in there, right? So that would be campaign number one. And typically that's also how we structure our testing campaigns, right? Testing campaign is going to have just ad set budgets, but Advantage Plus as well. And so this is your standard first campaigns in the account. Next campaign is a Advantage Plus video campaign. So this goes without saying, it's an Advantage Plus campaign that you only put videos in. So as you scale as a brand, you typically will see this where your videos will start to suck up all your spend, or your static ads will start to suck up the spend and your videos don't get the spend, right? And so a natural progression is to start breaking out statics into their own Advantage Plus and videos into their own Advantage Plus. And so this is a natural progression. Again, it allows you to scale, right? Instead of having only one campaign, now you have a static only and a video only campaign, right? And that gives you two campaigns that you can scale alongside each other. And you could even keep, an Advantage Plus Evergreen campaign that has a mix too. So you could technically have three campaigns if you wanted, right? But this is the natural progression, moving into video only, moving into static only. Next campaign is what I call the Advantage Plus CPC campaign. And so this is something I coined and came up with this year for a brand where we were running into an issue where we were getting winning ads that had completely different cost per clicks. And so when we would duplicate the winning ads into the scaling campaigns, for whatever reason, the high CPC ads kept sucking up all the spend, even though there was low CPC ads that had just as good as CPA. And so the issue there was that we wanted that cheap CPC traffic, right? Because that's going to fill up our email list, fill up our retargeting list, get people searching more on Google, coming back directly to the site, right? And so what I devised was this. I said, hey, any ad in testing that is a winning ad, right, hits our CPA and ROAS goals, but has under a $1 cost per click or under a $1.50 cost per click, that gets graduated into its own campaign, the Advantage Plus CPC campaign. And any ads that are winners that have over, the benchmark CPC, they get thrown into the regular campaigns, right? And so this Advantage Plus CPC campaign became an absolute weapon for us, as we were able to weaponize those cheap clicks and keep our traffic levels as high as possible and really have a pulse on our traffic and really be able to control the ebb and flows of our site traffic. And so if you ever are running into CPC problems, highly recommend checking out CPC campaigns. Put all your low CPC winning ads in their own campaign, and then you'll have the ability to really control the flow of your clicks to your site. The next campaign is an Advantage Plus dynamic product ads campaign. This campaign is pretty straightforward. It's using your catalog. However, you can house carousel dynamic product ads here, or single image static, or single video dynamic product ads. So basically any type of dynamic product ad can be in this campaign. You can also do an Advantage Plus dynamic product ad single image or video campaign. So in this campaign, you would only put DPAs that are single image or video. You're not putting carousels in there, right? The idea of this would be, some people aren't carousel people. Some people are single image people. They like dynamic product ads, but they don't like carousels. So can we maximize our reach on these people? You could. So you could do a dynamic product ad static image only campaign. Next would be a dynamic dynamic product ads carousel only campaign, right? This is typically what most people do is they'll dynamic product ads, they'll only run carousels. Most people don't even know you can do static images or videos, but that would be another option. And then again, the option most people choose just kind of by default is that. But again, when you start hyper fixating on certain ad types, you're able to increase your reach there. And so if you're looking for incrementality, this is a way to do it by singling in on a specific dynamic product ad type. Next is the Advantage Plus product specific campaign. And this is a pretty straightforward campaign. However, so many brands that come to me get this wrong. They're like, Mason, I can't scale. Then I look at their ad account and all their products are all in the same campaign. I'm like, bro, you have a hoodies and pants and shoes, hats, they're all in the same campaign. You have zero control over how much spend gets pushed for each product. And I say, brother, launch some product specific campaigns, right? Launch a hoodie campaign, launch a sweats campaign, launch a shoes campaign, launch a hats campaign, or whatever campaign, right? And so this is so important. So many brands get stuck because they just throw everything together in the consolidated campaign because XYZ, like whoever told them to, right? No, product specific campaigns can get you to the next level. So most brands sleep on this. Try out some product specific campaigns and the algorithm will get super smart about who to serve ads for that specific product, and will get smarter and smarter and smarter over time. So highly recommend product specific campaigns. In those campaigns, you're only going to advertise that single product. You're not going to advertise anything else in there, only that single product. And again, that's how the algorithm is going to become an absolute killer. Do not sleep on product specific campaigns. And the next campaign is collection specific campaigns. So this is typically one that can be more or less a campaign that doesn't run forever, but typically collection campaigns are when you launch a new spring collection or a new summer collection, right? This would be one of those campaigns that typically runs 1 to 2 months, 3 months, however long the campaign hype lasts. But most brands make the mistake by when they have a new collection launch, they just throw all the ads with their other ads, right? And they get no control over how much spend goes to them. They don't have any control over that business outcome, right? So collection specific campaigns are the way to go, especially when you do launches often. You don't have to get married to them and keep them on always. Once they peter off, you can pause them, but highly recommend if you're launching new collections, whatever it may be, break them out into their own campaigns so you can control how much spend is there. And so the algorithm can get really smart, finding the right people who would like that collection. Next is the Advantage Plus DR campaign or direct response campaign. I also call this the DR promo only campaign. So this was a campaign that was invented to be an always on promo. And so a lot of brands they do have promos going on because they're like promotional based brands, but a lot of brands are evergreen brands, right? They don't have promotions going on really ever. However, this DR campaign can allow you to have an always on promotion that is only available through the ads, meaning on your website, no promotions going on, no one sees anything, but this ad, this campaign specifically is always offering and advertising some sort of promotion. So this is a super valuable campaign because there's always people that are looking for a deal, right? And so this can kind of supplement your revenue throughout the year by having an always on promo campaign. This is something we did at Ruggable, the $500 million brand I was telling you about. We started putting single products on sale and we would swap them out every month, and these would crush and added a bunch of incremental revenue because there's always promo buyers out there. Truly there is. And so they might never buy you full price, but they might buy you at a discount. So if you try out these promo only DR campaigns, highly recommend it. They can crush for your brand. Next is seasonal campaigns. And so there's 4 seasons throughout the year. So why not invest in some seasonal campaigns? So what's a seasonal campaign? For example, we're going into fall right now. You could do a fall campaign. And what would you do in there? Back to school, right? Fall colors, right? Whatever seasonal messaging that matches with the season is what type of ads you would put into this campaign. These seasonal campaigns are great because the algorithm loves when you tap into trends. And so yes, you have your evergreen campaigns, evergreen ads going, but if you can spin off some angles that talk about the seasons, the algorithm loves this, and you can find incremental revenue by doing this. So highly recommend in the fall, launch a fall campaign. In the winter, launch a winter campaign. In the spring, launch a spring campaign. In the summer, launch a summer campaign, right? Figure out how to angle your brand, your products around a season, and you can create a specific campaign for this. And again, algorithm will reward you because the algorithm loves trends and they likes what people are super interested in at any given moment. And so if you tap into these trends, you will typically get rewarded by the algorithm. And bonus tip, there's a lot of good interest audiences around seasonal campaigns. So for the holidays, there's a lot of great Christmas interest audience. Even for the fall, there's some good interest audiences as well. So don't sleep on those, but just make sure in your content, in your caption copy, you're talking about the season itself, and you will see some awesome results by doing so. Next is a pretty straightforward one. This is a best sellers campaign. So say you're a clothing brand, you have 1,000 SKUs, whatever, and you have like a top 10 that drive 80% of your revenue, right? This would be a campaign where you only put those products in there. So you're always making sure your best sellers are getting spent. Because again, typically a lot of brands will have the issue where they want to promote all these like lower tier products that aren't really driving revenue. So you don't want to mix your best sellers with those lower tier products. You want to be able to control the flow of ad spend to your best sellers, which are going to drive the most revenue. So best sellers campaigns are something to always have going. Promote your best sellers at all times and you will make way more money. And then we have the Advantage Plus bundle campaign. So this is for brands that, you know, have multiple products that they can bundle up, are into doing some sort of promotional stuff. But bundle campaigns are great where you can create a bundle. Maybe it's an ad specific offer bundle, or it's one that just lives on the site evergreen. But a bundle campaign is where you would only run ads about bundles or a certain bundle, right? And the reason for this is that the algorithm will start to get very good at finding bundle people, right? So we don't want to mix our bundle ads with our other ads. We want our bundle ads in its own campaign so the algorithm can get super smart and get very good at finding more bundle people, right? And so if you're able to create a bundle, I highly recommend creating bundle specific ads, throwing them into their own campaign and running it up. These do extremely well. Next, we have customer profile specific campaigns. So these are pretty straightforward, right? So customer profiles, how many customer profiles do you have for your brand? Make a campaign for each of them, right? So typically as a brand, when you start out, you have your main ideal customer profile and everything's kind of geared towards that, right? As you scale as a brand, you need to start breaking out into different customer profiles. They might not be your number one customer profile, but they're still a valuable profile to go after. And so you would create customer specific campaigns for this. So for example, if you were like Alo Yoga, right? And they're typically their ICP is like yoga girls, right? Well, you would create like an athleisure, you know, customer profile campaign, right? Or you create like a runner customer profile campaign, right? And so these campaigns, you would put runners content, right? Or you would put leisure wear or like in the wild girls wearing the Alo Yoga just in the wild that has nothing to do with yoga or Pilates, right? And so these are examples of customer specific campaigns and the algorithm will get very good at finding people who are that. Next is angle specific. So this is one that's kind of similar to customer specific, but not because it's angle specific. So for example, you're a skincare brand and your products help with eczema and your products help with acne. Your products just help in general to make your skin healthy, right? So there's different angles you can take to advertise your product and different pain points mean more to customers than others, right? So for example, someone has acne issue, the acne angle is going to work very well on them, but it's not going to work really well on the general skincare person or the maybe eczema person, right? And so you'll have your acne specific campaign and your eczema specific campaign, right? And these are examples of diving deeper into angles. And the algorithm, again, is going to get very good at finding people that are trying to get that specific problem fixed or that are aligned with that specific angle. And last, we have some ad type specific campaigns. It's the Advantage Plus Reels only, the Advantage Plus Stories only, and the Advantage Plus Reels plus Stories only campaigns. These types of campaigns I used to use all the time back, you know, when Reels first came out, Stories first came out. The popularity has waned a bit. However, there's still an opportunity here with these campaigns, but you just have to dive into your data first. Dive into your data, see how Reels perform, how Stories perform, right? If they give you outsized returns versus the other placements, it might make sense to test into a Reels only campaign or a Stories only campaign or a Reels plus Stories only campaign. I've done this many times on prospecting, also on retargeting, doing Reels and Stories only retargeting and have had outsized results. And again, the more campaigns you can get working, the more money you will make, right? And so again, that's what we did at Ruggle. We had 70, 80 campaigns running, and that's why we're doing over $500 million a year, right? And so I recommend looking into your placement breakdown, seeing if there's any alpha there. And if there is some alpha, test out a Stories only, a Reels only, Stories or Reels only campaigns. Wow, that was a ton of campaigns. And if you're still watching this, bravo to you. I know that was a lot and I probably was rambling a bit, but that's okay, right? Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you got some sauce from that. And hopefully you'll never run out of campaign ideas again, as I just gave you a boatload of campaigns to run. So if you have any questions about any of these campaigns, definitely hit me in the comments. But here we are now, and you have 3 paths ahead of you. The first path is take everything I just told you in this video and not do anything. This is what most people do. They just watch YouTube videos and just like makes them feel like they're doing something right. Don't let that be you. Don't let path number one be you. Then there's path number two. Path number two is you ingest everything I just said and you go implement it on your own on your brand, right? You test out a bunch of these new campaigns, but you run into roadblocks and you don't know what to do next and you get stuck and you waste a lot of time, right? Path number two, it's a decent path, but it's probably going to take you way longer to get where you want to go. And then we have path number three, personally my favorite path, which is Meta Ads at Scale. Meta Ads at Scale, the first coaching program that helps e-commerce brands at any stage of growth. Yes, that is my coaching program by Mason Littlejohn, the $500 million a year man. And so I recommend you hit the link in the bio and check out my coaching program, book a call with my team, fill out the application and see if you are a good fit. We have an insane amount of case studies. Check out our case studies here on YouTube. I think we have 13 plus at the moment, and they're growing every single month. I hope you liked the video. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to leave me some comments or questions, and I'll see you in the next video.